In this video, my focus is going to be on colour and shape. So I want to create a painting, an abstract painting, where I'm using really gorgeous harmonious colour, and I'm just keeping my shapes quite simple. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a surface that's interesting and that is built up with layers and is made of transparent paint overlays. And so you can see I've put down really saturated, bright, sort of red colour. Then I've come in with a desaturated green colour, so they're opposite on the colour wheel. They're going to pop and work nicely together. And then I'm coming in with a desaturated, warm, sort of neutral. Now this colour will have a little bit of that red in it and a little bit of the green, so it's going to harmonise. And when I bring it over the top of all of that colour that's underneath, it sort of acts as a veil, and it sort of ties everything together, kind of a little bit like a glaze, and makes everything have a similar sort of colour quality. And we've just got that a few little spots, or that one major bit of saturated red left there. Now I'm going to make some shapes, and I'm coming in with a dark colour. This isn't black, but this is a colour that's made with brown and blue, and probably has maybe it has a little bit of black in it, can't quite remember now, but it's a very dark colour, as you can see. And I'm making quite a large shape around that really saturated bit of red there, which I really like. And now I need some dark shapes on this side of the composition, so I'm coming in and I'm making sure that these shapes, or this shape, is quite different from the big sort of blocky solid shape that I've got on the right hand side. So these ones are sort of slightly more fragile, they're smaller, they have thinner components to them, so they're very different. And now using a comb, I'm just scratching back through the paint, spreading it through a little bit of wet paint, and I put in a little bit of drawing through there as well. Okay, now I've mixed up a green that I've taken from the painting. So I'm not introducing a new colour, I'm just sort of choosing one of the colours to emphasise really. And so I've mixed up this green, and I'm making a couple of quite large shapes. Now what I'm doing here is, because this colour is sort of all flat one colour, it's very different from the colours that around it. The colours around it sort of have soft edges, they merge into, they're sort of made up of a multitude of colours playing together. But these shapes are just one colour, and that's a big difference. So I'm moving this colour through the composition from left, right over to the left side, over to the right side as well. And that's going to help integrate this painting. Now I'm bringing in a really light colour, and this is going to help me establish a design. So I've got dark areas, and now I'm going to bring in some really light areas. And I'm just putting this through, creating shapes that are sort of different from each other, things that I like, curves against straight edges, and I'm connecting the shapes that I've already got with this light colour. So I'm connecting it to the green shapes, I'm overlaying it over the top of the transparent layers that I've got going there, and I'm creating shapes by cutting into that green shape there. And here I'm going to connect that top with this, and I'm sort of, while I'm doing this, I'm sort of using this as a bit of a negative painting. I'm creating shapes out of the transparent layers underneath. So I'm sort of cutting in now and creating shapes in my painting with this light colour. Okay, now I've picked up a pastel and I'm creating some line. So a drawn line, and I'm just going to bring in different sorts of lines. So that was a curvy one. Now I've got some really straight ones that are drawn with a ruler, which is different again. So focusing on differences. Okay, so I've got this flat green colour that I've made those shapes out. Now I'm bringing in a light warm colour, and I'm snaking it around, so it's a different type of shape, and it's also got a little bit of transparency to it as well. So it's sort of a bridge between those transparent layers underneath and what I've imposed over the top of them. And now I'm going to edit. So I've mixed up another dark colour. This has got a little bit more brown in it, and I'm going to block out some of that transparent, some of the saturated red that I had under there. And now I'm just adding details. So I'm bringing in little lines and things. I'm filling in spaces, creating other shapes, keeping an eye on the whole design of this painting, this composition. I don't want it to be cluttered. I want there to be space so we can appreciate the lovely colour and also the shapes that I'm creating. So using that light colour to sort of create these shapes here that I've got with the green and the reds and the sort of warm colours there. Now I'm bringing in little details, putting the paint down, kind of smudging it to make the marks a little bit out of control, using a sponge to spread the paint over, bring in some water, and just adding details and interest now in the sort of marks that I'm making. Using rags, all sorts of things. You don't have to paint with just a paintbrush. And now I'm rolling around a little pastel to create some different marks. Okay, I'm using this to change the shape of that little line that I had going through there, and now I'm going to fill this in and add details and look at the interest I want to create in this big shape I've got on the right. Alright, I'm thinking that could be finished. Yeah, so I've got this big shape on the right and then these other smaller shapes on the left. And when you come in close, you can see those lovely transparencies, you can see the flat green colour, you can see the drawn lines and the variation of line I've got there. And in this area here you can see that beautiful softness of those, the paint, the way the paint's been put on in the top left hand corner there. And that softness contrasts with those really sharp edges that I've created with the thicker flat paint. So that's a big difference, the softness and the hard edge, which gives that definition.